like with like snake bites being having to run through and then having like the one-way smoke set up, but clearly they feel like they needed to adapt just that little bit further, and I'm interested to see how this one's going to work. It does look a little bit more standard, and of course we now have Durka back on his trusty jet, and I think we both know that that means that things might be a little bit tougher for Vitinho in this map.
Definitely, he's going to have someone to compete with, but hey, he's already winning that fight. Durka's taken down straight away. Now, Vitinho doesn't get out of there unscathed, but you're definitely going to be happy with that as an opening duel. FNATIC still posturing towards the A side a few seconds later, but they have still got to lurk on B. The turret position for mid pushes, and they're starting to make their way into B main. So lots of map control to work with, but Vodafone Giants can sit happy with that man advantage and all the control they have towards their spawn with those tripwires.
It looks like they're just going to set up the wall almost instantly. The second anybody is spotted on the cam, I think it was something that was expected, so this is almost being used to try and bait them in. But the rest of the team is still sitting around this A site, and because of that utility, because no one's been spotted pushing, no one's rotated for the Giants. They felt no need to make any sort of move in that direction yet. So if anything, they're now just going to start looking for more information into middle, which, well, they might be met with Magnum fairly soon.
He has no idea. Absolutely no clue. Down to 50 HP as he swings 3 players spotted. That's a lot of information. You saw his face light up as he tells his team to push straight onto the site. Good tags. There's the chuck dart into Vitinho. And as he falls, so too does the site. The late lurk play by Magnum's going to be cancelled, and David P has a big whiff. That's the man advantage now in favor of FNATIC. Post plans can be taken, and their back is well and truly covered by Magnum for the moment.
Yeah, they need some sort of big individual player if they're going to get back into the site, and that might just be it. Boaster left completely blind. Doma does the same to his opposition. He'll capitalize on one, but maybe didn't know that Meadow had also been blinded in the corner. It swings back into an equal position. The problem is the spike ticking away. They need to start clearing up some of these players, and now it's Mystic's turn to whiff a few bullets. He at least turns it into the 1 versus 1. And Magnum now just playing that after plant. It's definitely not the cleanest of battles, but the turret and the spike will win him the round.
To be honest, I think that going down to the spike, tiny point, but I think it really favors the Cypher in that situation. Like, Meadow gets out of there. Sure, he doesn't get an ult orb, but the fact that Magnum doesn't either, the impact that we can see from this lockdown. Now, I know Vodafone Giants might not put a lot of stock in lockdown, but jokes aside, no, like, obviously, as we said, 8-4 attack when they hadn't used the lockdown at all, but they didn't need to. Coming into this map, though, lockdown is way easier to use than Unbind. You can definitely get a lot of room with it, so I think FNATIC will be a little upset about not getting that point, but the round win is the round win, right? They're able to buy up, they're able to get themselves weapons, while Vodafone Giants should just be taking the eco, and you can see 4 classics of Sheriff. Exactly what's happening. Boaster's he's keeping his presence wrapped, man. It ain't Christmas time yet, so he's following the rules.
Yeah, I wonder if Ryan's fingers start to hurt with having to open presents like every single day. Like, I also feel sorry for like any of his family members, because they must be bankrupt at this stage. Like, birthday again, is it? All right, bud. Cool.
I mean, you were mad earlier about Link shaving his head, right? Well, I mean, you have to be realistic. Imagine how Ryan feels. It's someone else's birthday today as well. You know, they're stealing his thunder.
They've completely ruined. You've ruined his day, Doma. Couldn't you have been born some other day? Anyway, it's going to be the fast push in. A full stack here, though, for the defenders. Every single member waiting, and they've already managed to get 3 kills. Now, the spike's still in their hands, but they're still going forward. They're still taking the peaks, and they know exactly where Boaster is. Somehow, they've managed to make the classics work to a ridiculous degree, and now Boaster has to try and scurry away and win the 1v2.
30 seconds left.
Is this Icebox? Are we watching Icebox right now? The guys are winning the round with classics. I mean, all right, Boaster's got a 1v2. He'll get the plant down, but that's about where this fairy tale ends. Anything else past that's going to be tough. Time is not exactly on his side, but there's no one close by,
10
so
seconds left.
a free plant, and he's planting pretty open. Now, no utility. You'll notice that his shock darts have already been used up. He'll have his recon on in 30 seconds, which is quite a long time, really. I don't know we'll even see that get used. Vodafone Giants just need to stick together and play that 2v1 trade.
do wonder if he's planted it there as bait. Like, you've even seen them ping on the map that he could be in defender spawn. So it's a plant that obviously still works for his current positioning, but it might just get in the back of their heads. They're still going to be checking everything thoroughly, and David P is going to make sure this round is taken home. A round that realistically never, ever should have been for Giants, but their full stack risk pays off, and I have to be honest, Mitch, I'm a bit disappointed that FNATIC didn't disengage from that, especially in the 2 versus 2. You know the players are there at that point. They're still spamming through the smoke to try and kill you. To try and face into that, it's so much risk and very, very little reward.
If the drone wasn't so expensive, you know? But they only managed to spot the one player with it as they went in. So the others being completely undetected, which is strange. When you're playing with a Sova and a Sky, you usually have so much information to play with. They didn't see any contact anywhere else on the map, and I guess presumed that the heavier stack would be towards B. Vodafone Giants really rolled the dice on that one with a 5-man A stack. They kept it the entire round as well, you notice, and it worked perfectly. Now a double opening to start this one, and FNATIC having a few pistols but no armor, they don't really stand a chance in these mid fights when Vodafone Giants are contesting like this.
Are they gonna spot out Doma? Oh, I'm liking the party hat. I'm liking the party hat. That's a nice touch. He almost gets 2 there. A lot of damage done with the pistol, but it's left all onto Mystic, and it won't matter too much. I would like to see if he put his cam back on, if they'd still have the photoshopped hat. Like, it would take a lot more manpower, I feel, from the production to actually, like, track his head movements. And also, I think his monitor was slightly in the way, so they'd also have to somehow Photoshop that out. But other than that, I think it's workable and something that the team need to be putting all of their effort into.
Tom, it's worth letting you know that this is the first time I've ever seen a round be played out, let alone 3, and Durka has 0 ACS. He's done no damage. I have a feeling that that's going to change.
He's put Trip on top of the generator, because if that's where a lot of jets will updraft and dash into the site. So if they try and go up on top of generator, they're going to get caught by a Trip. I really like that. It's almost gross. Like, if you were to get caught by that, you'd be so frustrated that you've been directly countered.
And this is something that we'll see Durka do a little bit as well, so I can't help but feel like Vodafone Giants have maybe had a little bit of a look at how he likes to play. The dash gets Fatino out of there just about, and he goes back in! Excuse me? Taking Durka down! That is absolutely disgusting! He's full blind, so he doesn't know there's a player right behind him, but he's managed to sneak over towards the switch room. Now waiting for a peek to come in. The turret's destroyed from far away, and Fatino has Magnum trapped in that corner. A second player even coming over to help him out. A few spams received from behind. Hoodie dropped. And this is actually turning around pretty quickly for FNATIC. That recon was perfect. It reveals everyone. Kills for Magnum as well. Equalize it up into a very decent scoreline for FNATIC, considering how things started. They are now 2-2. That round was scrappy, but they made it work.
Yeah, it has to be one of the weirdest pieces of positioning I've ever seen, with Mystic at the back of the site after using his from the shadows to get there, and then just the fact that Doma manages to just walk past him and just trying to kill him for a ridiculously long amount of time. Even still, though, FNATIC will take the round. I really want that Trip to work. Like, he's putting it down every single round. That's such a cool piece of utility, just to directly try and counter Jet. And as said, if Durka gets caught by that, it's going to be infuriating. Because who does that? Who puts a Trip there?
I don't think I've ever seen it before, in fairness. So I doubt it's going to be expected in any way, shape, or form. Fatino! He's come right up into Boaster, and they broke the wall.
They faked the wall.
They put it down, and then they broke it and walked through, and there was no second thought about it. That's ridiculous. Vodafone Giants have lost control over the A site, even despite that opening pick. We're going to see FNATIC get the plant down, and then Vodafone fight for their way back in.
I think they spotted the trick.
Yeah, they've seen it. They'll remember that for next time.
Right here.
Still a man advantage in the retake. Now, Fatino may not have a gun, but he does have his Blade Storm available, and a lot of damage is being taken by Durka currently underneath. But by sticking down here, he is wasting an awful lot of time. Mystic also on the reaggression, but he's quickly dealt with by Fatino. As they make their way in, the paranoia are also going to be used. They're trying to clear out Magnum, and that's exactly what he does. This man really isn't having any troubles in this map. 4 kills already in the round. Doma, he just doesn't stand a chance. And while trying to hide back, he's turned into almost just a hat now. But it doesn't matter.
David P. That's one of the best things I've ever seen, man. I think David P completely messed up the shadow step, right? Didn't he just like shadow step onto exactly the point he was standing on? But obviously that's ludicrous. That makes absolutely no sense. So Doma turns around to check behind him thinking, wait, is he back here or what's going on? And I think it's killed.
Where's his hat gone?
Look, what he shadow stepped. He missed it. Yeah, so he did try to go into wine, which he would have died if he succeeded in, but he clipped the wall, and that saved his life. That's just...
Was it the biggest bait of all time?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. There's no world in which David P... He's going to say in an interview, yeah, I meant to do that. I thought I'd just fake him out. He hadn't got a clue he was doing that. As a matter of fact, I guarantee he screamed when he noticed. This is a fast round, man. Look at the pace. Right to the back site. Meadow's already gone. The site's theirs. As free as can be. Nice plant for FNATIC.
Very quick rotations coming out from the defenders. Now, nobody's actually pushed through mid. They walled it off at the beginning, so there's not going to be any flank coming. This means that Boaster's going to have a late push in behind after all the remaining players have tried to go through. They're looking to clear out short, but he's sat so passive, it will actually take them a ridiculous amount of time to clear him from this position. Patino's just wall-banged Mystic, though. Now, that's something at least. Turns it back into a 4v4. They catch the late lurk of Boaster, and now they've left Durka completely blind. This retake is sublime coming out from Giants. They have to get themselves on the defuse, but that was almost too easy. Thoroughly impressed.
This is where I'm going to have to throw my hands up and say I was wrong about this team by quite a bit, underestimating them. Like, when I look at the Vodafone Giants as a squad, that first map was definitely a lot lower of a bar than I expected to see from them. As I said to you, Tom, yeah, I could maybe see a world where they take a map, but realistically, it's like a close 2-0 that FNATIC edge out, maybe given double digits on both maps. But what it has ended up being is an incredible individual performance, first of all, from some of these players. David P in that round, Fatino for this whole series has been absolutely on fire. And then obviously we've seen what Hoodie can do with a Marshall in his hands. Now, I think for Vodafone Giants, that's not the end of the game. We'll talk about it a bit more later because it's a very quick attempt by FNATIC with the pistols, using the Blade Storm to try and instantly burst out to sight. But Tom, there's 3 players here in the early round ready to take these duels. 2 on site, 1 coming in from mid, and while the fast pointed aggression by FNATIC yields literally 0 results.
Oh my goodness. The fact he's lived this long is a joke. Like, just been dodging bullets almost the entire time. 5-2. It's starting to get a little bit worrying now for FNATIC, because the manner in which they're losing these rounds is a lot of the time they're either just being shut out of the round completely, or they're getting into afterplants and then just getting owned by the retake of Giants. Like, that's been the thing. That was the round that almost just like made it the most impressive for me, because that was a 4v5 retake where they made it look incredibly easy. Like, they still survived with 3 players. FNATIC got caught off guard, wall-banged out of positions, and then everything was cleared methodically. At the moment, they are looking like the better team, and I'm waiting for that response, because although this wasn't the map where like FNATIC were dominant, like for example Bind or Icebox, this was a map that they only really lost to like Liquid, and that was when Liquid were also really dominant on this map. So it's surprising, at least for now, that I don't think Giants have had to really bust out too many things, and with players like Meadow going down almost instantly in some of the rounds, the fact that they've been able to recover, and not in like, oh, it was a close 1v1 and we won that. No, in like relative fashion as well. It's making me worried for what, our Masters finalists, our representative at the last Masters. Like,
this goes here.
Not looking great so far.
What I'll say about the word comfort is that 99% of the time that it's used in an analytical perspective, it's just BS. It's a filler word to make up, oh, they're not comfortable on this map, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't actually give you any insight. But The reason that I paint Vodafone Giants as being uncomfortable on that first map and why I said it so frequently throughout that map was because you could see that their on the feet thinking was not there. They could not adapt on the fly to what FNATIC were doing. They had a game plan, like an A plan, and they didn't have any depth past that they could really use to counterplay FNATIC's counterplay. Here, though, and on the previous map, you can see the comfort level is there. They know these maps. This is more key. More core to their map pool, whether it's as a team practice or whether it's just as individuals coming in, that they already have a better feeling for how these maps work.
Oh.
Spike planted.
So in this round, at least, they played full retake. They are looking to try and clear out Boaster. Now, we've seen the lockdown being placed. They know he's here. That is beautiful stuff from Giants. Boaster is just not getting anything done on these flanks. That's both times now. They've either checked for him or they've just shut him out completely. Now, they have used the lockdown. Durka already incredibly low, and now again we watch to see if they can retake.
Durka, yeah, stuck up behind that generator. He's gonna swing after the flash and actually end up with a kill. Mystic's got a double, and all of a sudden, it's only David P, but maybe that might be enough. Just about getting away with a third, but time is too low. And the spike's gonna explode, take Magnum down. One quick point on this actually was Vodafone Giants delayed their use of Cypher's ultimate. Meadow waited to use the neural theft in middle until that Killjoy ulti had already was basically, I think there was like a second left on it. So they left it as long as they could before scanning Boaster's corpse to give them all the information they could possibly want to play with. But again, massive individual step up by FNATIC on that post plant. I don't think it's anything special. It's not one of these rounds we'll go back on and analyze in great depth. Just really clean play.
Yeah, solid hold from FNATIC, something we haven't seen yet from them in the after plants. They've been able to get into the A site. They haven't been able to survive on the way out. Now, financially, they've taken a pretty big hit here. It was a very, very costly round. We've seen a switch up as well. This is something that Meadow's always done, and Hoodie actually just going to swing straight in. Although it's probably not an ideal trade, FNATIC will take that one just because it's one of the weaker weapons that now goes out. And actually, Dome has been able to get the Seekers. This will show that there's at least a couple of players there, although one of them has got stuck. And I think that might be selling almost false information that there's 3 players on B, because there isn't.
FNATIC are starting to move towards this A site, but there's still time to go back if they want to. Nano Swarm lineup coming in from Magnum. It's going to be over towards tree, and comes the flash. Oh, in a second as well. That's nice. The entirety of that area covered. Great little execute from FNATIC that pushes Vodafone Giants back all the way. Nets a kill and a post plant now to be played out. Again, they don't have a lot of utility though coming into this stage, Tom. You can see for FNATIC, it's going to be the alarm bot they put down, and after that, there's nothing to play with. This is going to have to be another step up in individual duels, but they've got the manpower at least to go for those trades.
Again, we see these spams coming through. They've connected before. Coutinho getting slightly low on bullets, and by the looks of it, they might even just be looking to fall back. Keep that extra weaponry into the next round. It seems FNATIC have already done enough in this one, and without that extra utility to get them back in. In fact, a lot of their A-side retakes have relied on Paranoia. That's been something they've just been using straight from tree all the way through to the back of the site. Yep. It's given them a lot of openers back in. So with David P already dead, it seems like they've just decided, you know what, we've got nothing to get us into this site. Let's just make sure we keep the weapons.
Yeah, the value of Paranoia for both of these teams has actually been off the charts, and I think it's something that is highlighted on Ascent and on Split in particular, how viable this Agent of Omen is as a smoker. Sure, you lose like your Molotov, you lose the ability to cover the entire map and have slowing utility like you do with Astra, but at the end of the day, that flash, it's just so damn strong. It's on a map like Breeze, let's say, not so much. But yeah, you try pushing the A or B site with the Paranoia here, you can blind everyone on an angle.
This is aggressive. Something a little bit different coming out from Giants. As said, they've been playing a lot of retake setups, but they really haven't gone for a whole lot of aggression. This angle probably not going to be something they expect, and Coutinho's even lurking around to almost try and spot towards the top of mid. Now with Mystic currently holding the spike, And I'll be interested to see, because once they get to spawn, it wouldn't be that surprising if the players of FNATIC actually start running, and that might give the sound cues needed for the rotation. Look at the Giants players. They're all going A, every single one of them. David P, he's not getting a single kill here, Mitch, but he has completely stacked up the A site. This is brilliant.
The stats won't show it, but if they win, this is David P's round right now. More valuable than any 2K you could find. Rushing into the site, rushing into the stack. FNATIC don't know what waits for them. They've dashed in. They think they're about to catch one or two off guard. Patino up top, Ambi as well. Now they think the site is clear, but that's when they come through the smoke, flooding into the site. Vodafone Giants have just completely outbrained FNATIC on that one, and it is 6-4. The lead extends in Vodafone's favor.
This is one of those rounds where until FNATIC watch this back, they will have absolutely no idea how they lost it.
Yeah.
They will have no idea what gave them away, why all the players were gambled there. And as you said, we've got 10 assists already for David P. I think you've got to add another 5 to make that statistic actually worthwhile, because that was perfect from him. Because a lot of players in that scenario will panic and try and make some sort of play to force the victory. Instead, calls it to his team, and you're not going to get a better round than that. To be honest, if the desk aren't breaking that one down, I'll be disappointed.
You gotta hit up your doppelganger for that one. Get Ryan on it.
My bold brother.
Okay, Hoodie's gone straight away. The split through B, a much faster strategy from FNATIC, but not relying on the straight B main push that they did before when they ran into that 3-man stack up from Vodafone Giants. Instead, they're getting the picks and the site under their own control. Doma can even heal up Magnum and Durka. That is, they weren't pushed up in such aggressive positions, both being satellites of this site, playing towards middle. Attempting to play a really nasty crossfire, because Durka's going to take that first kill, but now is when Magnum could potentially swing out and take more. He actually ends up getting spotted by the drone, and that spam not yielding any results. In a 2v5, it's time to leave and get out of here, but unfortunately, Durka's way ahead of them. He has been spotted up above, though, so Meta will deal with Durka. Not the biggest of losses for FNATIC, really. In fact, they could still afford to go and hunt if they want to. But coming into the final round, I think they know Vodafone Giants are going to get a bye no matter what.
Yeah, especially after the last round being reasonably clean. It doesn't really matter to them. For Durka, of course, he'll have the Blade Storm anyway, even if he's unable to afford a rifle, but I highly doubt that that's the case. And again, this is something that you're always going to see at the top level of Valorant, but I've always enjoyed these sort of pace changes coming out from Boaster. I think they started to realize that these slower rounds have given the Giants time to figure them out, to reclaim map control, especially in retakes. So if you just blast your way onto the site, it becomes a little bit more of a gamble. And in those cases, FNATIC are probably going to win out a lot of those duels, which is, well, that's what Durka does best. These are the strats that normally end up as Durka go kill, and Durka does go and does kill.
Get out of my way.
Yeah, Blade Storm going to be activated right at the start of this round. Let's see if Durka's killing a couple of these defenders with it. Up on top, a little awkward fight there. The operator could easily one-shot him, but both players miss it out. Mid-control conceded. Vodafone Giants start to rotate to reinforce this B side. The Hunter's Fury comes in for a tag. Not a kill, though. These players on the back side remain only detected for one man, and Ambi is taken down. Now Meadow could potentially catch them off guard, but they've heard the steps. They know he's inside of here. He has a teammate covering for him, though. The operator wanted to watch the cross, but is pushed back because, well, you never know what's around that corner, right? Got to be worried about main, meaning Meadow has to fend for himself, and that's not going to happen. Plant and double the manpower. Pretty tough retake here, and one that isn't necessarily going to happen.
The worst thing is he almost just used those smokes to try and give him a better angle into main, and Dubba just spams and insta headshots him through it. Like a little bit of bad luck for Fatinho. David P been superb so far in this map, but he's not going to be able to do anything in this clutch situation. 6-6, an even half, and I'll be honest, Mitch, I think it's fair coming into it. Like, both teams have had their moments. I think Giants have definitely impressed me with what they've been able to do on the retake, but FNATIC, they always just seem to be so fast to adapt in a lot of these positions and getting themselves into afterplants in a lot of different cases. So even scoreline going in, Pistol definitely going to be that springboard to kick things off once again. Although, saying that, the amount of second round victories we've actually had throughout this series so far is almost harrowing me to my core.
6-6, tied up close as you like it, Tom. It's the way this series, well, it's the way it played out, at least coming into the second map. Sorry, not the first one. The first one, very different score. Matter of fact, the map was almost over at this stage. Oh, that paranoia really has just done him dirty. The push up completely failed from FNATIC off of that. The Vodafone Giants are fighting back for that map control. The orb will pretty much be theirs, and there's a 3-man stack from FNATIC. They've got a lot of players in this area. I can't help but feel like this is where Vodafone Giants just slow the round down and really start to play those mind games.
Try and take their time with this one, although it looks like they might be pushing into a 3-man stack. Already, though, they get the opener. They do take quite a bit of damage onto Hoodie at least. He is going to try and heal himself back up and actually boost over the top, try and give them some extra jewels here, but it's just not gone well in the pistol. The shot's not connected. David P trying to make some sort of resurgence here. Doesn't have much support from his teammate, who's only just wrapping in, and eventually Mystic puts him in the grave. It's left onto Ambi. Please, someone hit a shot. Oh, God.
A little bit awkward. Well, FNATIC end up with the win at the end of the day. You take a look at that scoreboard, man. I mean, Boaster ain't having the best of games, but they're still right up in there, and it goes to show that it's not all about the numbers, right? Not all about putting in the kills. I do feel like when it comes down to the defending side, I mean, I'm almost rethinking.
Why are we watching this again?
I almost see Vodafone Giants as just being a little bit better on the attack. Like, looking at that roster, looking at how they played before as well, I think they've come into a half that I believe in them a little bit more on unequal numbers. So that pistol's something that I guess I'm happy to see FNATIC get, because it spells out possibly another close half for us.
I will counter your argument with just one thing, which is Durka defensive side operator.
I knew it.
But, like, am I going to say anything else? The man is one of the best operator players on this map.
Most definitely.
Period. Like, he's so difficult to play against, and he's a lot more aggressive than what we saw. What are you thinking of my counter argument, Mitch? I think it's going quite well.
What? What was that second shot? The patience on the first, the position, everything was perfect about it. The second one? Come on. I'm raging if that guy kills me.
Give Hoodie the Marshal. Give Hoodie
the Marshal.
Give Hoodie the Marshal.
All right, you better get a kill. Better be getting a kill right now, Abby.
Oh, no, it's fine. If he dies, then he gives Hoodie the Marshal.
The audacity.
For anybody who wasn't here on map 1, Hoodie was nuts with the Marshal. That is the reason.
30 seconds
Yeah, he was using it like a shotgun and a sniper. It was beautiful to watch. With 20 seconds left, we know this is a round that Vodafone don't stand too much of a chance in. It's really a question of damage, and can they manage to take another rifle off of them? Which means basically killing one of the players towards A. You don't want Boaster to just pick that Spectre or whatever it would be right back up. But it doesn't look like any... Oh, it's another knife, is it? Okay, Mystic's got a bit more respect than Durka does, so it's going to be 8-6. In a relatively clean fashion for FNATIC. One player lost. It was only a Marshal that they dropped as well. Not the end of the world. Matter of fact, Durka could even afford to go... Can he go in for an operator at this point? I'm not sure. We'll see when it pops back up.
Yes, this is what we want to be seeing.
Yikes.
How?
That's the... How do you correct your aim that quickly?
How quick does his brain work?
He's not human. That's what I've realized. He's just not.
It is actually crazy, man. Like, I don't think my brain would have processed that player coming around the corner, let alone where I was aiming, where his head was.
Mate, you wouldn't have hit the first one. Oh, God. Okay, it seems like Hoodie is a little bit more prepared for Durka's aggression than maybe I gave them credit for, because I said it previously. Like, that's what this man likes to do. Disrespectful plays, aggressive plays to try and shut them out before they get anywhere near the site. Now, that was one of the only rifles they have. I guess the Bulldog sort of counts, but, you know, it's not quite as good as the Vandal he lost.
Yeah, it doesn't really make up for it. With a minute left on the clock, FNATIC seem to be favoring towards the A side on the back of the aggressive play that Magnum's got inside of main. The interesting thing about this setup is that Magnum's first point of contact is actually going to be his turret. He essentially has a crossfire with his teammate, or he's ready to swing on their contact. But the teammate's a little mechanical being who already has 1 kill. Here we go. This is very unfortunate with the drone, but he swings, ignores the drone completely, and that's 1 kill for them. The problem is Vodafone Giants just going to waltz onto that site, get a plant, and then they've got a 2 versus 4 that surely they can't lose.
I'm out of stuff. Hawk out.
It's gonna be a rough one, and while Mystic maybe just want to save the rifle. Just something to bring into the next round. I will say that's one of those things as well, like not shooting the drone. That might be one of the most obvious things that you should just do in your own games, and I can't do it. Like, for some reason, I see the drone, I'm like, gotta shoot the drone. As if it didn't see me anyway, and they don't know I would be in that corner. Like, if he gets pinged there, it makes absolutely no difference because they have seen that he's there. But in my mind, I'm like, must shoot it, must shoot it.
I think Mystics going to just be tucking away for the rest of this, right? They haven't spotted him out. They won't be able to take him down. Rifle carried through to the next round. It's little consolation. At 8-7, Vodafone Giants have managed to get themselves the round of the board. One that they should do up against somewhat of a bonus, I suppose. And FNATIC now get themselves that full buy. All the credits invested. Where's Durka? Durka should be 1 or 2 off his ult, right?
Yeah, I think he's a couple away.
Yeah, 2 off.
Thank you.
So it's not going to be the free economy is really what I was looking for, wondering if FNATIC could... Because getting the Bladestorm and Showstopper, getting those online in round 3 is so important for teams. Or can be so... Not necessarily so important, but it's very impactful when it does happen. Oh, it's nasty. It's so nasty. Great flash. Doma takes 2 down, but the trades are so good. Vodafone Giants walk into a disadvantageous situation. Flashed up and a one-way smoke, and they still manage to deal with the entirety of this A defense. And David P has dealt with the B defense as well. Durka's flank caught off, and the man advantage now sits to Vodafone Giants.
Well, that's a quick push coming through. David P actually dealt with as well by Boaster, saving his teammate's life. And the remaining 2 are somewhat stuck here. Now, they got loads of time. They don't have to really take any risks here. They're going to use the Aldrome, which won't actually give them anything. Both players from FNATIC have fallen back, so they're not going to spot any of the remainder, but it does give them a safe place to plant. Now, it's not exactly the best position in the world, and while the tag also is going to give away one of them. The peek coming back through. Magnum holding the angle. He's going to nail the first shot, but it's just a trade in the peek from Meadow. 13 HP just about gets the reload through. And, well, he knows that there's nobody on this defusal at this point. Can spot that he's not going for it, but it won't matter. Boaster is just about going to scrape them through that round. A close one at that, but a 9th nonetheless for FNATIC.
It's been a tough road for FNATIC. They've got that lead. It's extending up. It's looking good. Vodafone Giants have not let their foot off the gas pedal so far in this series. I mean, that map one, it vitalized them. It got them to a point where they were ready. Right. Take the duel all the way to knock FNATIC down to that lower bracket, but now that task's just a little bit more difficult.
Last player standing.
Likelihood is, I think we actually, yeah, we're going to get the Bladestorm for Fatinho. So, obviously we got the pause coming through. They can buy around this. He's the only one that basically has a few pieces missing here and there. And we've already seen, I think he's had some pretty impactful rounds with his Bladestorm thus far. On the other side of things, still yet to get that operator. That's the one thing that I do think has been missing for FNATIC, even though they've been coming through in a lot of these rounds. Their finances really haven't built up. They've been incredibly close clutches, and in most cases, they're the ones to just about get a 4-buy on the board, but even still, there might be a piece or 2 of utility missing here. So if Giants can break back, well, it's game on, Mitch. That would basically be 9-9, unless we can see, like, a huge victory off the Bladestorm or something, which, you know what? Never mind. Forget I said anything.
Let's see what's going to be done. Fatinho likes the faster plays, likes to really get up in their face. And the whole team is right behind him. I can feel the dash into side already. And Doma's ready, though. Putting out the Tiger. Is this Fatino's opportunity? Does he go through and try to hunt him down? No. Slightly slower because they want the drone first, but it's tucked in the corner. Doma, it's able to actually do a pretty decent job of just remaining undetected. Even swaps over position, so they'll be covering the corner he was in. That's so big brain by Doma. And an easy double as they come out through the choke point. They are met with the full force of FNATIC's defense. 10-7. Double digits for FNATIC and a heartbreaking round for Vodafone Giants. They throw a lot at that one, Tom, and they get nothing for it.
Yeah, that was a full investment. That was the Blade Storm as well. And I have to say, for Mystic, that paranoia, it seems like a lot just to paranoia an out drone. But without that play, they know exactly where Doma is. And, well, you can almost bet that Fatino's going to dash, updraft, and probably just Blade Storm him in the head. So the fact that he blinds it as they come through just means that Doma's safe. And, well, we saw how much damage he did in this round. So 10-7. Hoodie's got himself a Marshall, so there might still be a little bit of hope. But Durka is just starting to battle and brawl into mid. Amal. Fatino maybe getting a little bit further than he might have expected, although there is Doma up the top shoulder peeking, and I think... I don't know. I don't think he has spotted him because he flashed quite deep there. Eventually, they're going to realize, but, well, it's realization with a bullet in his teammate's head, and Meadow's now got 2. This has just fallen apart so quickly for FNATIC, and somehow they've managed to get the site.
This is massive. They're going to be able to get that plant in now, knowing where the final 2 players are. Grouping up together, Magnum and Boaster have a tough task. Those 2 on site.
Oh,
there you go. That's... Whoa! Magnum in a lot of trouble. He hears the players on long, but there was nothing he could do. The res got pulled in. 10-8 we go. Vodafone Giants aren't letting go of that one. And what a godsend of a round that is, Tom. Being able to get in with a Sheriff. Fatino creeping forward the space that you said he had found, and the dash caught them off guard. Mystic had no idea he could be there. At that point, it was a kill. It was a rifle retrieved, and that was really the foundations of a 1 round.
With it, yeah, even if it was just a distraction play, it also gave Meadow 2 kills because, of course, you're going to be focused on the man that's just managed to dash into Generator. I don't know how that happens from FNATIC, especially because Doma was shoulder peeking heaven, so you almost think, like, how has that not been seen? But I guess just thread the needle. This was what I was talking about a couple of rounds ago, though. Durka has been holding on to this at least for an extra round, and they have some pretty powerful ultimates online. Sure, the purchase, not perfect, but hey, you put yourselves in, well, that's what I was going to say, the Seekers, Blade Storm, and maybe a Lockdown, and this is still a good buy.
Yeah, the ultimate economy coming in to save the credits at times. A 4-man stack remains on the A side. I think Giants are starting to realize maybe they've pulled the rotations over. That cage not quite as deep as you would like it to be. Still an angle they can peek through. There we go. They didn't see them. The dash out of Fatino, but he goes right into Durka, thinking maybe he'd caught a player off guard, but instead he has taken down. That timing read wrong for Vodafone Giants. And the man advantage sits double in favor of FNATIC. And look at the amount of utility they've still got on this B site. Stopping any sort of lane push, those nano swarms can easily be activated. And Sova towards the spawn, the second player that might not be expected. But no, it's all a fake, and Vodafone Giants don't know that they're still running into a 3-man stack. FNATIC are so good at this. We saw it on Icebox as well, Tom, where Vodafone Giants would try to take map control elsewhere and try to make noise, and FNATIC just wouldn't move. They would just sit in position and go, yeah, cool. You can go B if you want. We're sticking with 3A. Vodafone Giants have to save. They have no choice but to just save this. The time is way too low, and we're going to see 11 on the board for FNATIC in, well, I was going to say flawless fashion, but then Magnum died immediately, so 4 players surviving.
Yeah, it's worth it for him if he can remove the extra weaponry. It's not really that much of a loss, but the other thing as well is I feel like selling a fake in a 3v5 is really hard to do. Like, you would almost have to just run into the site and then run away. Like, there is absolutely no reason for FNATIC to over-rotate, because even if they just trade evenly, that's a 1v3 retake for the remaining couple of players. So they're not just going to abandon the site and just walk away. So sending one man to just almost be like, look, I broke the door, everyone come in. Like, this, it was never going to work. Like, if FNATIC fell for that, I think I would have just left. Because that would have been the worst sold fake of all time. Like, there's no chance that would have worked. I can understand why Giants are trying to do it. You get into a desperation point with that little time left on the clock in a 3 versus 5. So, yeah, fair enough. But FNATIC have now broken back in a couple of rounds. Again, Durka Bladestorm, never underestimate it. The man is just an absolute monster. But it does seem now that some of those more aggressive plays, some of those risky pushes into the sites have stopped working. And then the slower plays is what benefits him. Because shutting him down, even when he's playing solo, it's one of the toughest things to do in Valorant. Like, even the best teams in the world have struggled to do it. So the fact that Giants are currently suffering the same problem, it's not that much of a surprise.
I think one of the biggest problems as well for Giants in situations where they're trying to sell fake info is in reading how teams like FNATIC will actually respond to the things that they do. The caliber of opponents they usually play against, no doubt, will have been more prone to over-rotate, more prone to give them the advantages that they want. But, I mean, look at FNATIC in this round. Giants make a little bit of presence towards B. They start to move back to the mid area. All the while, Patino is watching short, waiting for a peek to come through. But there's nothing. Shock darts behind the smoke in case someone's playing up close. Again, nothing. FNATIC are playing this incredibly passive. They know what is going on from Vodafone Giants. The only combat they're really looking for is Durka pushed up in main. And Fatino's about to swing into him, and this is going to be such an important fight. The wallbang shot to Durka takes him down and now puts the man advantage in their favor. Vodafone Giants have Hunter's Fury and they have Omen's ulti. They can go into any part of the map they want for information. Basically, a free Sova arrow, which can be so important when you have this man advantage to stop you from running into a stack. The choice to go B would currently be the correct one, but the rotates are on the way. And slowing it down a little bit, Vodafone Giants will get some big dividends, but they're throwing over arrows on A. They've got to go fast now.
Do they clear? Oh, surely Mystic has to be dead. No, he's actually going to get away with 2 kills? Oh, eventually the trade comes through, but the spike has been dropped on short. They've only got 20 seconds to try and deal with it. Now, Doma doesn't have any flashes left, and the dash away might give him an opportunity. He's got him trapped in the corner, but the pistol is enough. And now it's left onto Boaster. Shock Dart might actually get the kill, but there comes the Bladestorm. Vitinho again. He just seems to explode into rounds exactly when Giants need it. And well, this time the Jet is the difference.
And the really important thing about that is Fatino had the spike. He had the balls to just go for that play. When you've only got like 10 seconds left to get the spike planted, you can't really rely on that one teammate to cover you. If that kill is found, it's a 1v1 and you are on the back foot. I mean, he has the high ground, you know? It's over. But not only that, the fact that you're stuck where the spike is, there's like 2 angles you can potentially peek, and that player is going to be primed and ready to take that fight. Instead, Fatino says, hey, let's catch him off guard. Let's take the fight to him. Brings it right to his turf and takes him down. That's exactly what you want to see. And Dirk is actually ahead of this smoke. The recon is destroyed, so he can still hold that position. That's exactly what he's going to do late into the round, waiting for someone to come out from B connector. And this battle of the operators, for what I think is the first time we'll really see it come up. And the timing on Durka. I don't know why he took himself out of the scope, but hey, Fatino's going to be happy with that. That's 2 for 2 in the last 2 rounds.
Yeah, and that's been the difference. Like, they've been able to shut him down. They've been able to deny that aggression, and well, then it comes down to FNATIC almost having to take gambles elsewhere. They're going to report back that there's at least a player outside of A. And in fact, it's a lot more than just a player. There's, in fact, the majority of the squad about to push in this direction. 45 seconds left. Now, this control could actually make a pretty big difference. I wonder if Doma's about to try and pop flash himself out of it. I think he is. This is risky as hell, and he's not going to get anything for it. Vitinho already going to find his second of the round and looking to try and dash back into this site. Mystic is waiting. He needs to go huge, and he will fall for Vitinho as well. This man is just taking over the server.
We really need to take a look at this guy after the games. Fatino has been around for a long time.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry for interrupting.
Go for it.
Didn't they drop him?
Vodafone Giants?
Yeah, I'm sure that he was in like X Giants at one point.
I I'm not 100% sure.
I could be wrong in that one, but I'm pretty sure that, yeah, he played for ex-Giants Gaming, but it might have just been that he joined the players who were then Giants, but it is almost funny that he went and then became part of that team and now has ended up in the actual roster, and now just looks absolutely sick.
Yeah. You know, back in the day, when it was, when he was playing for ex-Giants. Yeah, you're right, because they were the full Spanish team, right? With Jamba, the man who first showed us the double shock darts back in the Allied Esports Invitational Ignition series, way back in the day. And Fatino back then was one of the... It was Fatino and Jamba. Those are the ones that really caught my eye. Jamba because of his proficiency on Sova. It was unlike anything we'd seen from players in the European scene. At that point, of course, closed circuit invite only. That's bound to happen. And then Fatino was just incredible individually. But I will say he is way better now than he was back then. Like, he caught our eye back then. Now he's stealing the show completely. Dirk has found the opening kill, mainly because it wasn't Fatino on the other side this time.
He's got the hero operator in this round. No one else you'd want with it, of course. And he's already managed to find them the opener. Now again, lockdown's still online. Again, I don't think that's been utilized at all, really. They're probably saving it for the right retake, but a lot of these rounds seem to be lost before that's really an option for Mystic. Oh, sorry, for Magnum even, to bring that one in. Now, mid control is completely in the favor, but the flash going through, I don't believe that actually caught anyone, so not much information here. And Fatino, again, going to be leading that charge. Now, the stack is prominent. 4 players waiting on A. One of them, Doma around tree. I think he's dead here, but it might just be the information they need. And, well, you can't quite do that versus Fatino. He'll hit that shot all day.
About as free as they come for him. Dirk is going to be taken down on the side as well. And this is starting to look so good for Vodafone Giants. They don't know that Boaster's still on the site, but he's caught as he tries to sneak his way out. 11-11. Tied up we go. And Tom, I said it when FNATIC won that pistol round in this half. I felt like that gave us the close map that we desired. And here it is. Now only one team. Whoever wins this round is the one that has the possibility to close it out in regulation, or we hit OT at 12-12, and I'm excited either way. I don't quite mind which way it goes. This has been a hell of a series.
How did David P even get there? Like, he jumped up through heaven, and it seemed like nobody even realized from FNATIC. He's been finding holes in this roster pretty much all the way through the map. Sure, Fatino's definitely been the star of the show. I don't think there's any argument there, and to be honest, that is a surprise to me. Like, we watched map 1. Let's be real, that was Durka domination. Like, that was like, we never really saw Fatino come onto the server. We were raving about Hoodie. We were worried for this squad. Get into map 2, he was phenomenal. Night and day, completely opposite. And now we go into Ascent, and again, it looks like a map where he just thrives. It looks like he's just completely, quote unquote, comfortable, as you said. So now FNATIC, they're going to take themselves a pause. It was something mentioned on the desk that it wasn't something they were doing, but giving Mini the opportunity to have his input. We know that Boaster and him are the deadly duo behind the scenes which drive this roster forward. Let's hope he's got an idea, because right now FNATIC are desperate.
Placing sentry. Placing swarm grenade.
Calling a tactical timeout this late into the game. You can see how serious they're taking it. It's time to make that push happen. Tactical timeout is over at this point. There we go. I suppose in a way, Tom, a whole round is a tactical timeout.
Shut up.
If you really think about it.
No, not really thinking about it. It's 11-11. I could not care less about whatever weird analogy or thought you're going to try and come up with. We're getting on with the round. Mid control is the point of contact, at least. We've seen a couple of attempted B splits, but a lot of the time is ended, well, almost in a bait. The B site has not been the turf of Giants. In the majority of rounds, they've ended on A. Magnum is in a good position. Is he going to be able to do much here? Even a trade here for Giants would be absolutely fine. Ambi, he's not checked it properly. Oh, it's a little bit... Oh, it went wrong. It went wrong, to say the least. Magnum with a chance to get a multi-frag. He's only going to come out with one. And now they're pressuring onto Dirk. He's been caught a few times. This time he escapes. Doma in a bit of trouble himself. This is not the greatest of rounds for Fnatic. It seems like they're almost choking out of this one, but Mystic might just be there to save the day. 3 kills as he fades back into the smoke. And he'll just about get around the corner.
Oh, man. I did not think he had that much time left on the smoke, so fair play. The read was there. Meta with 11 HP left to keep the dream alive for regulation victory. He needs to win this 1v2. And the Hunter's Fury, it ends his chances. There's no way he gets this plant in, surely. Oh, no, it's right on him. 12-11. Fnatic edge closer to that upper bracket final. They're looking to win it out 13-11 here, map number 3, and avoid the overtime, which would send them to face off against Team Liquid, who've already secured their spot in the upper bracket final. Tom, this is tough. This has been very, very tough indeed, but Fnatic, they've made it work in, I would say, one of the craziest rounds I've seen for a long time. That was truly ludicrous. It felt like fights were happening all across the map, and there was no attacker or defender. We were watching a deathmatch with a bit of strategy. The Odin play, it's come out from Boaster. Now I'm a big fan. Always loved Boaster, but this one's really pushed it over the line. Let's see what he can do with it.
They've TP rotated as well. There's going to be some counter ultimates being expended. Magnum actually pushes straight through and manages to turn it into a 3 versus 2. Now the spike is still in their control. They're actually going to take a bit of a risk here. This turns it into a 1 versus 1. Doma might be able to end this round in his tracks, was expected by David P. The man just has a 6th sense in this matchup at least. That could have been it. That could have been map over. That could have been series over. But he wins the duel and turns this into a 2v2 retake.
The steps are heard. David P, we talked about his lurk plays earlier on, and he's in a prime position to get some serious work done. There's the kill to Magnum, leaving Boaster alone. 50 HP and a 1 versus 2 to win out. The spike planted open for them and a player flanking him from heaven. That is going to be an overtime question mark. He's already sticking it to halfway, or at least that's what they think. Pushing down, Ambi will catch him, and we're going to OT on map number 3. Vodafone Giants have made it work. It's been a damn impressive series from this team. They have earned the respect of absolutely everyone within the European scene, from the showing that they've put on here alone, from the victory over Vitality, and possibly the victory over Fnatic. As we enter the OT, it's all on the line.
I have to be honest, like, when we saw like a lot of players coming over from Counter-Strike moving into Valorant, there were definitely some players I doubted, and I can hold my hands up and say that one of them was David P. Like, coming over, I was not sure how much this man would be able to perform. Now in G2 he proved, at least individually, he could definitely still roll with anyone. In this team, honestly, in this map, they would have lost if it wasn't for him. Fatinho is, as said, the star, but he has had so many impact plays which turn this map on its head. And I'm loving watching Giants, I have to say. This is the first time I've got to cast them, I think, ever. Even just the whole roster. But this is a different team completely to what we've seen in the past. A different level to what we've seen in the past, no matter the result in this matchup. And now they have a chance to take down a Masters finalist.
I've got the chance to cast Vodafone, obviously, back in the days. And actually, just as you say, they dropped Fatinho. I mean, they did drop the whole roster. I think they just pulled out for a period.
Just him.
So, yeah, it wasn't so much like they dropped him or they dropped a couple of players. Like, they just left the roster and then rebuilt later. But technically, yes, he was removed from the roster. Or you could look at it this way. They removed themselves from the game, and when they wanted to re-enter, they looked to Fatinho because he's so damn good. Either way, the point is, this team has been built relatively new, certainly compared to Fnatic, compared to the success Fnatic have found. This is not someone that you would expect to be potentially knocking them to the lower bracket, but they've become a little bit of a dark horse within the scene. Great flash by David P, and a double kill, a shutdown on the A push, and they still have Fatinho here with the operator. How did that not connect? Through the shadows it went, and Mystic is now harassing the backside, taking down Meadow. Oh no! Vodafone Giants are on the back foot, and Fnatic, they've pulled this one out of absolutely nowhere.
That shot might have been everything. Mystic getting one of the kills on the way back in, but there's still 2 players to fight for this one to try and give them that advantage that they so desperately need. Hoodie trying to peek back in. He's been spotted. They now know where both players are, or at least should do, with Ambi spamming through the smoke. Hoodie has made some ground at least, but with all 3 players underneath Heaven, there's no way they can clear these angles. FNATIC just group up as a squad, and they will garner their 13th round map and series point.
Magnum's looking different these days. 13-12. FNATIC are certainly feeling like it's the birthday of everyone on their lineup. They feel like they're Ryan Central right now because they're just one away from connecting their spot in the upper bracket grand final. Or yeah, well, you call it a grand. You don't call it a grand final if it's just the upper bracket. So it's just a final. Yeah, just a final, Tom. But what it is one game away from qualifying, right? Making it to that EMEA playoffs to face the best teams within our collective regions. That's what they're gunning for. Recon on mid sees nothing.
Scout destroyed.
Vodafone Giants definitely have the pressure on, and dealing with Dirk is going to be the first big task that they face. He's up on top, and Hoodie's ready for it. With that down, there's a player up close in the form of Doma, but Hoodie, full blind, just deals with him. This is fantastic from Vodafone Giants. Up on top they go, and Mystic's able to drop one. Dancing around the generator, he will be taken down. All onto Magnum to make this clutch happen and avoid another overtime. But look at that. Vodafone Giants' decision-making is on point. They realize this guy's already rotated into position, so let's rotate back. They've heard the steps. They know he's here.
Yeah.
They know that he's coming in through spawn.
Yeah, they're watching the smoke like a hawk. He still manages to get away with one. There shouldn't be anything more, though, as David P is there with the trade. 13-13. The battle continues to see who remains within the upper bracket. Of course, neither team at this stage to be eliminated. But considering this is a pretty hefty best of 3, they do have to play another match today.
That is a very good point. Yeah, the loser has to play another match to stay alive, which is not ideal after such an elongated series. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's versus BDS, a team that I presume is currently watching this game.
Probably. They're going to have a lot to watch, but yeah. They're also a team that, I don't know, on their day, I genuinely believe can beat anyone. So I would not like to be going down into the lower bracket versus them, because a lot of the time I think it depends on which version of BDS you face, whether or not you get through or not.
Well, indeed, now with a 6th player, that is even more true. There are multiple versions.
Literally what version you face, but also, well, do you get God tier clutcher Logan or not? Like, well, I think that's one of the things you have to worry about.
Versus 10-star, Gatch is a new player in the roster, performed really well. But hey, we'll leave that for the next series to discuss, because we'll get to see BDS
There's
in a little
desk
bit.
For this stuff.
They do their job. They get through all that sort of.
They're hating right now how much we get to talk. Like, I'm telling you, like, Jess
Master, stop talking.
Fuming. She's like, I want to talk about this game, but it's still going. 40 seconds left on the clock. They're about to make play into the B site, which is currently empty. A retake setup on B. Now, this is something we haven't witnessed so far from Giants. They did this on A, and it worked fairly well. Now, Bose has got to be very careful. He's got 3 players facing into his crosshair, and it's shaky from him. David P will be the one to close him out. Barely any damage done, and the remaining players, well, they're locked into the site.
Paranoia is going to catch the first, but there's literally 4 guys on site.
God.
They've got the potential to make multiple crossfires happen. Retaking with the off, not going to be easy, but Hoodie is leading the charge and dominating every fight. He takes Doma all alone on the back site. Numbers are going to be his downfall as Hoodie eliminates him. That is 14-13. Vodafone Giants facing map point, series point to make it to the upper bracket final. To face Liquid. This could be FNATIC going to the lower, Tom, and facing elimination from the entire tournament. Their chances of going to Masters, gone. Their chances of going to Champions, hurt, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, FNATIC are one of the only teams that actually have that slight lifeline of, I think, already sort of being in that last chance qualify, but I don't want to talk about that right now because I feel like that firstly it's confusing as hell, and secondly the match is still going and they could very easily come back into this one. And while Durka, a lot of the time you're not going to see players go for the operator so much in overtime because you can't have yourself those extra shields, but Durka doesn't seem to mind.
I'm gonna have to buy this man tickets to Hamilton or something. Boaster's playing the Odin on every side. He just keeps biting it up. What is that for Magnum? He's run after Fatino. He's chased him down. Nano swarms, cloudburst, smokes. It doesn't matter. You can't keep this guy away. He's looking for a little bit more, and even catching Ambi off. Now staring at main for another challenger. Step right up, step right up. It looks like finally we have a victor, but with David P left last alive, a 1v4 and a shot to the side confirms another overtime, Tom. 14-14. This is a draining series for these players, but they are still putting up those numbers. Patino close to hitting 30. David P really showing up, and we've seen some big plays from him coming throughout this. And I can't help but feel when you see Hoodie around the middle of the scoreboard, you know it's a good day for Vodafone Giants. Either that or it's a really bad day, but in this case, it's a good day.
I was about to say, either that or it's not gone well at all, but hey.
Either that or they've lost, 13-4.
16-14 is the number both teams are now looking for. Now, I think there's another game with that scoreline. We don't normally get there, but this has been a worldy of a series. A slow start for Giants, but the fight back has been massive. Do they have the gall to take it over the line? Vitinho, an aggressive position, waiting patiently. He's got David P alongside him, and it's the bait and switch. It's the attempt to try and catch out Magnum, but it doesn't work. He's done the majority of the damage, and now the rest of the team are looking to try and put pressure in. They've got the slows to try and hold things back, and Ambi garnering quite a bit of information for his team. He's got to be careful, though, because a peek out here could be his life lost.
He's going to be deep flashed on to allow Durka to push, but Fatino was just sat there waiting. He'll eventually be dropped, but the trades are there. And it looks like Vodafone Giants have done just enough to pull themselves into the lead here. FNATIC are surrounded. There's players on every side. The site has a two-man stack with a crossfire, and 40 seconds on the clock kind of limits their ability to rotate. Boaster has found himself that big weapon. A little bit of damage onto Hoodie. He needs a bit more. 20 bullets as he swaps over. The Phantom now in his hands. 25 seconds. The flank on its way. David P easily takes the first. Paranoia onto the second. And with the barrel spotted, Meadow closes it out. 15-14. Another map and series points for Vodafone Giants. Can FNATIC hold on this time?
A really solid hold coming out from the side of Giants. No way into that B site. Decent crossfires as well. And of course, at this point, I think David P might have some of the best positioning I've ever seen. Like, he's always behind them. He's always catching someone off guard. But in this round, I feel like it was probably the least important part of the play. Now, they're actually going to take a timeout themselves on the Giants side. A moment for David to come up with a strat, talk to the coach, and try and come up with something to break this FNATIC defense. Now, first thing on the list, probably try and kill Durka. He got aggressive in the previous couple of rounds, managed to catch a player or two off guard. But can he continue to do that? Can he continue to make these rounds difficult? And, well, if they go towards the B site, I wouldn't be against it. I would say it's almost likely.
Oh, certainly, if they give him the opportunities. I do think that they've run into B a couple of times, and he has had the chance to take a couple of shots. I do think that if they do go towards B, there's going to be more direct counterplay, whether that's even just putting the drone down there right away, having your smokes down up on top, and a paranoia for the right side. There's a bunch of different things that you can do with this kind of composition to counter that operator and make it difficult. And I see David P is currently holding his flash in hand. He's ready to paranoia them up right at the start of the round. And that could be a big problem for Durka if he does go to peek into main, which he currently is. There's the flash blinding him up. He now has to play much more passive, peppering them up here. Boaster's doing some good damage, but just swinging left and right a little too much. The accuracy kind of going to hell. And look, it's nothing really. It's a little bit of a tickle onto Fatino.
Deploying drone.
Interestingly, he hasn't got the operator here. I'm playing with the rifle. I mean, we saw that A play, right, where he dashed in, updrafted, and took on top of generators. I can't help but feel like maybe it won't be A, but he will still go for that faster entry play.
Seems like Durka might just be in the right place at the right time again. Now they are going to smoke it, wall it, not give him the chance to take that fight. And the pace has been picked up. Potential spam to come through. And he's actually just going to go running through. Doesn't quite... Actually, I think he did. He wallbanged David P, but he survives. Now it's left on to Boaster at the back of the site. The flash through from Doma will at least garner him one. And Boaster, he steps up in this round. 3 kills off the back. It even grants him his trusty ultimate, the Hunter's Fury. He won't spot out the player yet, but Magnum is quick to do so. 15-15.
Best gun in the game. It's the best gun in the game.
Sides.
Odin.
Overtime.
That's a little theme tune I made up for it. I did make it up just now, so it might not have lived up to, you know, some of the other jams out there.
Oh, to be honest, I thought that was actually written by Jonas, so, you know, thoroughly impressed.
You know, I tried my best.
30 seconds.
Yeah, I will say, I'm not sure I agree with your point, especially when you consider... Well, I don't know. If you're looking at all the best players in the world, like if you're going for like a tens of Dirk, I don't see many of them playing Odin.
Boaster's gonna get there. He's gonna make a name for himself.
He's gonna be #1 player in the world.
Oh, here we go.
All right, David
P. How do you get out though? You know, that's something you'll see a Jet do. We've seen Durka, we've seen Fatino make those kind of plays. Maybe a Reyna, you know, but an Omen, not so much. Good trade back, though. Meadow is going to give them an advantage over towards Vodafone Giants and completely stop any push from FNATIC. They're now just stalling out, trying to play for a little bit of map control, and ultimately the goal of this round becomes very blurred.
A minute left on the clock. And an A-site stack is almost in play here. Ambi potentially just going to be spotting. They still have the wall blocking off any plays directly into B, and the re-aggression is going to be caught. Hoodie falls, but now they're almost going to try and sell this as control of A, but they're not currently going in that direction. Now, any push into mid would catch a trip, but instead, actually do start to wrap back into the A site. Still going to be 2 players waiting here. One of them, Meadow, sat underneath Heaven, but more importantly, Fatinho up above with that operator. He's not been one to miss too many shots, but that might be the one. Meadow, however, has been able to pick off Doma in the meantime, leaving Boaster to try and trade.
He can cover Mystic at least while the plant comes in. They know the operator's up top and have to be so worried about it. Peeking into Fatino now could be the end, and indeed, Boaster will go down. Mystic now has to clutch it. There's a player below and 2 above. No info really to play with. Great spray!
What?
And he actually gets it done! All 3! Mystic puts FNATIC on 16-15 in an absolutely incredible play. Now they have map series point. Vodafone Giants, they're gonna be kicking themselves after that one. How does he get away with this?
So there was a play to get us to overtime in the first place, where Mystic finds a multi-frag in a position where I thought he was dead and gets back around the corner into the smoke. He has just blown that play out of the water by finding a 1 versus 3. That might be the match winner. We've got to see if there's a response now, because going on to the attacking side, this is where both teams have struggled for the most part. And FNATIC have themselves an advantage.
Same shock darts going over. Of course, the objective of killing anyone, not really a thing. We saw it before. Trying to take out any killjoy utility that might be around there. Alarm bots, nano swarms, all that sort of good stuff. And of course, tripwires if you're playing against the Cypher. The drone's going to go through. Is this, again, a faster play? Mystic has had a lot to say from this angle, and they've not cleared it for the 5th time, I think, at this point. But now they know where he is. He's still good for 1. Everybody on FNATIC showing up. This is when they need to. A 3 versus 2 as David P and Ambi try to clutch this out. They have managed to just about sneak that spike out from under FNATIC's nose. The rotate underway. David P has heard those steps, but there's a door between him and Boaster. That's going to give him away. He knows exactly where to aim, exactly where to look. In fact, even has a paranoia to play with. considering he knows that
30
there's a player
seconds left.
close. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets popped through. For now, he just wants to gently peek that angle, but Boaster's waiting for it. The Odin in hand, but a bullet in his head. Numbers evened up, and David P will take an even more aggressive stance, making his way into market. They better be ready for this. He's tucked
so
in,
good.
and good for another 2 insanely impactful kills that leave Mystic, the man who single-handedly at this stage kept them alive in the previous round, now has to clutch it out again for the win. A 1v2 and no time for him to sneak. They'll know exactly where he's coming from as he approaches this site, and you may bet David P is ready to pounce on him. And there it is, an easy 16-16, tied up yet again, and another overtime
Switching
on
sides.
ASCENT.
Overtime.
This is the Omen overtime. That's what that was. The clutch coming out from Mystic in the 1 versus 3, and then in the 3 versus 2, David P managing to pick off every single member of the opposing team. We're at 16-16. It's genuinely getting to the point now where I feel like both of these teams are just going to be exhausted of strategy. Somewhat, it's just going to come down to individual plays. It's going to who has the biggest balls to throw this one off and get themselves that victory. Now, David P still going to be challenging early into mid. Not wanting to take quite the risks we saw from him previously. And already Ambi actually peeking in to break the Tiger. Of course, they currently, or at that point, had 3 players holding onto the B site. So a spot onto Vitinho, for example, would have actually been a lot of information garnered for FNATIC.
That shock dart goes through to destroy the tripwire, and similar to what we saw from Vodafone Giants on the attack, that's going to buy them a little bit of extra space and a lack of information on the opposing side. The turret not destroyed, the drone rather, is going to give the information away that Dome is outside, but I mean, they had that from the shooting alone. It was a very slow round from FNATIC. As we said, it's already been an incredibly long series. These players have got to be fatigued. I think we're going into like the 4th hour of this series, if we're not already in the 4th hour.
$35 seconds. Vitinho about to be pressured, and he's going to get the opener once
Spike
again.
down, B.
Magnum almost has to try and pressure onto him, and Dirk has been caught in mid. They're going to try and wrap back into the A side, but there's been an aggressive push. Of course, it's David P. He's got the perfect spot to deny anything in this round. Are they going to expect anyone to be that far forward? Probably not. So it's a free kill. Boaster goes down, and they just close it. David P with the double, and a beautiful round from the Giants. They've got their chance once again
Switching sides.
as they head into the attacker round.
I've lost count of how many map and series points Vodafone Giants have had at this point. The opportunities have been there.
Flawless.
Despite a wealth of chances, they haven't been able to close it out. This time around, on the attacking side, they will attempt to finish it. Now, they won the previous round that they had on attack. FNATIC have definitely going to be feeling like their backs are against the walls. The only reason that they're still in this is because of that big play by Mystic to keep them alive, which happened both going into overtime and in overtime. Winning this game on a round-to-round basis is Vodafone Giants. They're relying on less individual clutch plays to make it happen, which makes it that much more repeatable. FNATIC need an answer, and they need it now, or this will be Vodafone Giants running away with the upper bracket spot, and FNATIC having to battle for that other spot through the lower bracket, which they don't exactly want to do when there's only 2 spaces on offer. And there's a possibility you'll meet either Vodafone Giants or Liquid again before you get to claim your spot.
And it's today, so it's like it is
Yes.
real fatigue after this map. A minute left on the clock.
I have the spike.
Now, we've seen some aggressive pushes out from FNATIC to break some of the utility, to deny Cypher from just spotting
Take flight.
as they look to try and control middle once again. Now, they're not going to see anything here. No real information. The same sort of aggressive push we saw in the previous round. And now they're going to look to try and push into Boaster. Already, Dirk is going to be able to pick off one. Did they even expect him to be here? The answer is no. And again, it starts to fall apart, but David P has at least isolated one. They've got themselves the cage. I expect maybe some spams through it. In fact, a flash going through it to try and not leave Dirk isolated, but they're actually going to start falling back. there's such a small amount of time, and if they run through all of this utility, it's actually not going to be popped in time. So David P will at least get them the after plant, and they've left Ambi behind to almost just try and catch out Durka, who I think is just going to be running, but gets away with it.
This is a scary situation for FNATIC. They have nothing to work with in terms of utility, bar that paranoia. Durka's on his way with the operator. He'll be the first to take contact. With the dash, the ability to fall out, he goes right onto the site. Good position!
Oh!
David P with the triple! Vodafone Giants 1 kill away from knocking FNATIC down to the lower bracket. It's Mystic again that has to pull this clutch off. He spotted the final player, but he won't get it done. 18-16, an incredibly long series.